don't work in talking points like that. I'm interested in facts, and the legal immigration system is not just fine. I've spent my career writing about how we need to expand legal immigration. So no, I don't go around saying it's just fine. I said that things have improved, and no, I don't go around
sir,
talking.
Don't filibuster. I got questions to ask, and I only have 5 minutes. So you're saying you say in here vetting is effective and the visa process is secure. You stand by that, right?
Absolutely.
How did 350,000 children come into America that we have no idea where they're at the end of the Biden administration?
Thank you, Mr. Biggs. And now Mr. Raskin is recognized for 5 minutes.
Great. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. The distinguished gentleman from Arizona began by talking about visa overstays. And so, Mr. Norrister, I wanted to ask you about that. There's been a lot of discussion recently about a famous case of a visa overstay, that of Elon Musk, who had a student visa, was granted entry to the country, and then didn't go to school and said he never really wanted to go to school, but stayed and was able to get to work. And I wonder, in your response to the gentleman from Arizona, you said, or someone said that there's something like 500,000 people in this context. What are we doing about these visa overstays? And going back to your original comment, would we be better off if people like Elon Musk were kicked out of the country at that point, people who overstay a student visa or a work visa? Because my experience from traveling abroad is that oftentimes what we get in America is the most ambitious people, the people who want to work the hardest, create the businesses, win, Pulitzer Prizes and Nobel Prizes and so on. And he would seem to fall into that example. I mean, I guess he's in a category of his own, but somebody who was very ambitious and wanted to come here. But would we be better off making sure that everybody was kicked out of the country the day after their visa expired?
We absolutely would not be better off. We'd be substantially worse off if that were the case, especially in that example of Mr. Musk. The reason why he did what he did with the student visas and then the tricky H-1B situation, everything, was because there was no other way for him to come to this country lawfully. And it is absurd that in this country, which has been built by immigrants, all of us are descendants of immigrants here in this country today. We have a proud history of being open, that there is no other way for him to come here lawfully, to open businesses, to try his mettle, to create new firms that are multi-billion-dollar, $1 trillion of value that he has created in the world, and other people like him. The government should focus on the security threats. They should focus on criminals. They could go after these folks like ICE went after these Iranians in the last couple days, many of whom had criminal convictions. They should not be wasting their time on people with expired fishing licenses who are student visas. Now, the government does do a good amount now, especially under this administration, of trying to track down some of these overstays, but it's not a high priority because they need to go after criminals and national security threats and people like that. Every dollar they spend and every minute they waste going after non-criminals and people who aren't national security threats is a waste.
Okay. I think you're intimating views that are congruent with my own, which are we should make it much, much more difficult for people to get into America illegally and much easier for people to get into the country legally and lawfully. And I think that we have bipartisan convergence around the first issue, that we want to make it difficult to get in the country illegally, but we seem to disagree about the importance or the value of allowing people to get into the country lawfully. I think that our temporary chairman here said, and please correct me if I'm wrong, mass migration is the single biggest existential threat to our country today. What do you think about that as, setting aside climate change, terrorism, social and racial division? Is mass migration the biggest threat to our country? If we had massive lawful migration, would that be a bad thing for America?
The overuse of the word existential is a prime example of threat inflation, of trying to terrify people for no good reason. The idea that the existence of the United States is threatened by immigration is absurd. It is just the opposite. The future of the United States is guaranteed and enhanced by immigration to this country. It is what will guarantee the growth. If there was no immigration, For instance, starting right now, the population of this country will start to shrink in the mid-2040s. There will be fewer Americans. There will be a smaller America unless we expand or at least continue the legal immigration that we have now.
Okay, so why do you think immigration has become such a vexed political problem? I know historically we've gone through periods of anti-immigration fervor and xenophobia, but if we've got the grounds for bipartisan compromises we've seen repeatedly, why do some people keep on wanting to use this as a political club?
So I think it's obviously a vote getter. It obviously infuriates a lot of people. And to be, totally fair to these folks who I disagree with, I do think people see chaos and they really don't like it, right? But I think the chaos is caused by our restrictive immigration system overwhelmingly. And if we want to get control in the long term, we need to do what you suggest, which is expand legal immigration opportunities to the United States. Enforcement matters, but legal immigration matters a ton too.
Time's expired. Thank you. We now recognize Mr. Tiffany.
Mr. Nawarasta, do you believe the immigration system improved under the Biden administration?
Under some ways, yes, in some ways, no. So it's a very large, complex system, as you know. It's second in complexity only to the income tax.
So your colleague David Beer was here about 6 months ago, and he said, yes, the immigration system improved under the Biden administration. What's the change here of Cato's position?
So the Cato Institute doesn't have positions. The scholars of the Cato Institute do. But if you want to narrow in on the legal immigration system, then I agree with my colleague David that the legal immigration system did improve during the Biden administration. But there's large other sections of immigration that have to do with enforcement, other categories
you're
of
going around
things.
telling people around the country here today that, hey, I'm going to split hairs, and I'm going to tell people that this one subset of immigration, hey, things are just fine in the United States of America. It's all good. When they understand this as a broader part of the immigration system as a whole, which has been a complete failure.
Well, sir,
So
I don't work in talking points like that. I'm interested in facts, and the legal immigration system is not just fine. I've spent my career writing about how we need to expand legal immigration. So no, I don't go around saying it's just fine. I said that things have improved, and no, I don't go around
Sir,
talking
don't
in
filibuster.
talking
I got questions to ask, and I only have 5 minutes. So you're saying you say in here vetting is effective and the visa process is secure. You stand by that, right?
Absolutely.
How did 350,000 children come into America that we have no idea where they're at the end of the Biden administration? How are there 600,000 criminal aliens in this country that committed oftentimes violent crimes, everything from attempted murder to carjacking?
The vast majority of those did not go through the legal immigration system. That is entirely the point that we are trying to make here today, is that they did not go through the legal immigration. If they did, then most of those people would have been weeded out.
This administration, which you said
This administration
did a good
or the
job in
last
some
one?
ways, the previous administration, they just let people come in without being able to get a visa. So, does your data that you purport to put out there that proves this, does it include the death of Stephen Nashwam, a truck driver in Russ County, Wisconsin, up where I live, who left behind 3 daughters? Does that include him in the data? He's dead as a result of an illegal alien running him off the road?
The evidence that we have is
Does it include the 2 children in Abbotsford, Wisconsin?
It includes all people who are convicted of crimes in this country, sir, and all people who are arrested and all people who are incarcerated for crimes in the United States during multiple years, including the great state of Texas, which has wonderful data, the best crime data out there, confirms my research. Every death and every murder is a tragedy, and those individual criminals should be punished to the fullest extent of the law. But that is not a reason to punish other people who are not criminals for that.
Are they in the data?
Of course.
Are the 100,000 children that died of or young people, #1 killer of young people in America, ages what, 21 to 45, fentanyl? Do you include the fentanyl
You mean
deaths?
the people who voluntarily took fentanyl and overdosed under that tragic situations? No, those are not homicides, sir.
Or do you mean the communist Chinese who sent the precursors over here and then the cartels
We're talking about the drug war now? We're talking about the drug war?
And by the way, they sent it in being carried by people who are coming in with the immigration system.
Why don't you count the automobiles imported that also cause car accidents?
Have you done, in your data, have you reviewed the impact on wages for those who are in the lowest economic strata with these millions of people coming into America taking their jobs. I'll end there. Ms. Vaughn.
Of course,
Ms.
I have.
Vaughn.
Vast economic literature on
Ms.
that
Vaughn,
contradicts your statement.
share with us, has there been an impact on Americans' earnings as a result of illegal immigration?
There's no question that illegal immigration causes unfair competition, costing people job opportunities, depressing their wages, and causing those millions of Americans who've dropped out of the labor market to have trouble getting back into it. No question.
So it's clear they're making less money.
Yes.
And that should be included in any data set when we're considering what we should do with immigration. Is that correct?
That's the inevitable result. That's supply and demand. When you increase the supply of labor, distort the labor markets, you're going to get lower wages.
Supply and demand. You're only talking about supply.
Mr.
These immigrants are people
Out of
who also
order.
raise
Out of
money.
order.
No. I'll direct the questions to you, sir. Mr. Hankinson.
I'm not asking a question.
Was there a cost to the fentanyl deaths here in America?
The open border made it a lot easier to bring in a lot of drugs, and a lot of drugs killed, as you said, about 66,000 people, just fentanyl alone in 1 year.
How much do you value a life?
You can't put a price on a human life.
I yield back.
Chair recognizes Mr. Nadler.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, Republicans love to claim that while they oppose illegal immigration, they are for legal immigration. Yet the Trump administration is doing everything it can to slow down or entirely stop legal immigration to the United States. Would you agree with that, Mr. Narester?
Yeah. Yes.
Under this administration, we've seen attacks on green card holders for exercising their free speech rights. We've seen a complete shutdown of the refugee program and a relentless assault on student visas. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely, sir.
Thank you. The Department of State is revoking the visas of students in the United States without any transparency, while ICE is terminating the legal status of students and in some cases not even informing them of their respective institutions. Would you agree with that?
That's absolutely true, and it's a total travesty. It is a poor way to run an immigration system, and it's bad for the United States that this is happening like that.
According to recent reports, more than 1,800 students and recent graduates across 280 colleges and universities have had their visas revoked. Is that true?
As far as I know, in the most recent data I've seen, yes. This is changing, of course, all the time because the administration is so aggressively anti-legal immigration. It's hard to keep up with the new numbers.
Thank you. Mr. Narester, isn't it true that ever since World War II, the United States has followed a policy of attracting people from other countries to come and study in the United States, and that policy has led to tremendous scientific, military, and computer advancements that have helped make America the strongest, most technologically developed country in the world?
That's absolutely true. In fact, economist Charles Jones, who is one of the preeminent experts in economic growth, has found that the increase in technicians and scientists and engineers, largely a lot of it fueled by immigration in the post-World War II period, can explain about half of productivity growth up through the 1990s. A tremendous increase and which results in a tremendous increase in wages, in new inventions, and economic growth that has made all of our lives better.
And you would agree, I assume, that we risk turning the greatest minds in the world away from the United States if we treat international students as like criminals?
That's absolutely one of the biggest risks, and the things that worry me the most is what genius entrepreneurs like Elon Musk, or what great scientists like the woman whose name escapes me right now, but who helped discover the mRNA vaccine, are we turning away? What is the loss?
Doudna.
I'm sorry?
Jennifer Doudna.
She's an incredible, brilliant genius whose work has helped save millions and millions of lives around the world. And if she weren't allowed in here, I just doubt that she would have been able to make those discoveries and contributions in a country like Hungary.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Narasta, the replacement rate to keep a population steady is 2.1 births per woman. The rate in the United States is 1.6 per woman. Now, obviously, this will result eventually in fewer Americans. I think you mentioned that. Yes. What is the effect of having fewer and fewer Americans, more and more people of advancing age to be supported by fewer people in prime earning years?
The economic effects are devastating. They are much slower economic growth, slower wage growth. We can see an advanced example of this in East Asia, especially in the country of Japan, which has had lower fertility, below replacement for decades now. It's no doubt that American fertility is below replacement, as you said. It will likely fall further. The only thing that is propelling growth in a good way, and has for a long period of time, is immigration to the United States. And I think supporting less immigration to the United States is the same as supporting a smaller America with fewer Americans, a less dynamic economy, and one where we have less of a footprint in the world. And I think that's tragedy.
And one where more people of working age have to support, fewer people of working age have to support more people of advanced age, threatening our Social Security system.
That's right. It definitely exacerbates the insolvency issues with Social Security and Medicare. It will bring on those problems faster and in a more severe way. One of the best ways to maintain, and even the Social Security Administration acknowledges this when they model out their Social Security predictions, expanding legal immigration does help extend the life of these programs.
And what do we risk losing if the United States becomes perceived as a less welcoming destination for international students?
I think the United States will lose one of the great selling points and attractions for this country, the attraction of opportunity that has enticed so many of our ancestors to come here over the centuries. Part of what it means to be an American and in this country is the openness to immigration. That has been part of our history forever. We are all the products of that. This wonderful, vast country is a product of it. There are 100 times more Americans today than when this country was founded. We are better off because of it, and I want to see a future with more Americans.
Thank you. My time has expired. I yield back.